Hi all, and welcome to Sage Innovation Event in conjunction with RMP. We are all very excited to meet you all today. And we've got three fantastic presenters for you in the form of Paul Tulip and Shannon Harris and Mia Mellor. I'm Victoria Rowland and I'm the Early Careers Talent Acquisition Partner. I'm going to be live in the booth all day talking to you about the opportunities within the grad and intern programme. The first up to present is Paul Tulip, who is our Sage Ignite program leader. He has a degree in accounting and finance, but he does tell me that abacuses existed when he got that degree. Sorry, Paul. Shannon Harris has recently joined us on the 5th of October as our graduate product manager, and she has a degree in business management. And last but not least, we have Mia Mellor joining us, who has gone through the grad program and is now our associate product marketing manager. And she has a degree in business with economics. So enough from me. I'm going to hand over to Paul to talk to you a little bit more about Sage Ignite and how the programme looks over the next 2 years. Thanks.
Thanks, Vicky. So hi, I'm Paul Tulip. So I'm the programme lead for the Sage Ignite Product and Technology Graduate Development Programme. A little bit about myself. So I'm also a development team lead at Sage. I've been involved with the graduate programme for a number of years. That's through line management, doing some of the assessment centres, and I've led the programme for the last year. So what I'm going to talk about today is really just the purpose and scope of the programme. I'll go through some of the key elements and talk about a little bit how this sort of graduate community works. So the Sage Ignite programme, it's an existing 2-year development programme for graduates joining Sage. Sorry, it launches October each year. It's entirely virtual. So obviously, with the COVID situation at the moment, we've moved from the sort of more classroom-based to being virtual. But what that means is we can then provide that globally consistent experience and improved learning experience there. So its purpose really is it's to accelerate the development of new and diverse talent with high potential into priority roles into our product teams and technology teams as well. As I said, it is a global program, so we've got locations. So in the UK, we've currently got offices in Newcastle, Manchester and Reading. We've also got graduates in Ireland. We've got in Spain, Poland, and also Canada. So we are literally across the globe there. So for FY21, we've had a number of roles come up. So the graduate roles have included things like engineer, tester, business analyst, UX, solutions designer, project analyst. You can see it on the slides. I'm not going to go through everyone, and there's about at least a half dozen roles in there as well. And for the diversity tracking, I'm really proud of how Sage, they've really sort of embracing sort of diversity and gender equity, race and ethnic diversity as well. And you can see some of those on some of the tracking. For FY21, it's virtual equal balance on male-female roles there. And the other thing I'm really proud of as well is just goes to show how much the graduates are enjoying the programme and life at Sage as well. That's the percentage retention recently I looked at, and that's so, for example, for FY18, that's 75% still working at Sage, so that's really good to see. So that's the overview. So I'll just go into some of the key development elements. So everybody who joins the 2-year programme, they're going to they'll be on an onboarding experience, so that's over a week, and then they'll move into their teams as well. So they'll do onboarding, which can be over sort of 6-8 weeks as they gradually sort of get acclimatized into their product teams as well. Every graduate, really, we have got that support network. So, for example, a year 1 graduate would be assigned a year 2 graduate as a buddy on their development team. For example, they would be given a mentor, where it's a senior developer or whatever. And also they'll have a line manager as well to give them, ongoing coaching as well. So that's great to see. The training itself, it's divided up into 3 different areas. So first of all, we've got the leadership development. So really, we're looking to actually incorporate and get into that mindset for Sage, to be a great SaaS company, as we're dealing with in the cloud, it's really sort of progressing and looking at innovation as we sort of exploit that market and really sort of drive forward in there. So the leadership development, it's over the 2 years, and they're generally up to 1 day per month, and it's broken into bite size, obviously, as we work in virtual. and those will be selected modules across. So whether it's, for example, project management, presentation skills, whatever that's involved in that. We also have technical expertise, the training as well. So every graduate gets a Pluralsight license. They can look at skills IQ. They'll have specific channels with their teams, but also specific graduate channels as well. Really to just broaden their thinking and learning as well. We have access to Microsoft Teams as well. So it's really developing that habit of continuously improving your technical skills. And it's that whole sort of think it, learn it and live it experience, that continuous learning that we really approach. We always really want to see our graduates do. And lastly, we've introduced a product excellence as well. So product excellence, it's specifically for year 2 graduates, but we're looking at things like innovation and collaboration. It's looking at things like that sort of customer focus. How do we build great products? Looking at the market, and how do we actually incorporate? Because customers, number one, we incorporate customers, and as a development team lead as well, generally we sort of involve in working in an agile environment. We incorporate our customers in every step of the journey there. So those are the three technical, or the three learning options for the graduates that they all undertake. There's a couple of other sort of key elements in the program as well. So special projects, so all graduates would be looking to utilize some of their skills in special projects, and it's applying the knowledge and skills they developed. And that will be a live project together with fellow graduates. So for example, we've had some security projects looking at things like what's top 10 leaderboards and security tools. And it's a great opportunity for some of the graduates perhaps to take on some role that they're not used to, whether they want to be the project lead on a project, and they're normally a developer, but it is a great experience and it really builds up that network. And just looking at that network as well, we have a forum each month as well. So the forums link in with the training that they're doing, but we also get a number of key speakers across the business to talk about some of the relevant sorts of topics they will be learning about. And again, it's just really, building up that network. It is key to the program. And lastly, one of the things I'm really proud about is, the graduates are great Sage ambassadors as well. I've seen some great examples over the last sort of year or so where, for example, graduates have gone out to university fairs, they've gone out to school careers, they've done code clubs locally in the local communities, and they've even been out to things like sort of developer and agile meetups as well and given great presentations in those. And it's really just promoting themselves as graduates on the Sage program, and that's been brilliant to see. So moving on, so then those are the key development elements of it. And just when I've been talking about, building up that community, it is key. So there's a couple of things we have. So we've got a knowledge hub, really, which it helps the graduates there. There's things like gradually frequently asked questions. So it really helps the graduates when they're coming doing an onboarding piece. But it's also there for the graduate managers because a number of the sort of same questions, and it's there to support the graduate managers as well, really give the best experience to the graduates. And also for the graduate schedule, we've really sort of looked and we've built out for the 2 years. So for example, on that knowledge hub, the graduates can look at the key points that they've got coming up each month. And that's obviously great because they can then sort of start filling out their calendar. They can plan their own time management. They can look at the resources, and also managers can plan in their capacity as well. So that's really supporting the graduates as they move forward for learning as well throughout the year. And all that calendar is set up for our year 1 and year 2 grads. Okay, and that's the forum. So that's really, covered the purpose and scope, looking at key elements, and really the graduate community. And as well as the knowledge hub, one last thing as well, we're using a tool called Sales Hood as well. So that runs all learning runs through Sales Hood as well. So it means the graduates have got to do pitches and things like that, and they're really good at it. So it's really brilliant to see some of the confidence that comes through on some of those pitches by the graduates, and they can obviously then go and watch it themselves, the other graduates in those pitches as well, leave reviews, and it's a great way of building up that community as well. Okay, so I'll be available in the booth afterwards as well. So if anybody's got any questions for me, I'll be available then, free to answer any questions. Okay, I hope that's been informative, and I'll pass on next. It is Shannon. Hi, Shannon.
Thanks so much, Paul. Just to introduce Shannon. Shannon joined us on the 5th of October as our graduate product manager. And as Paul said, it's hugely important to us that our Sage graduates are our ambassadors. And that's why Shannon's joining us today. So over to you, Shannon. Thank you.
Hello. So thank you for the introduction, Vicky. Paul, if you could move the slide on, that'd be great. And just once, yeah, that's perfect. So why Sage? So I was fortunate enough to actually have prior experience of Sage, as I undertook a placement year within the HR and people function as part of my degree. I learned a lot about the company and thoroughly enjoyed my experience. I loved the culture and how the diversity, equality and inclusion really radiated across the company. So having this experience really enforced the want and need to take my career forward with Sage. It was such a welcoming environment and so much opportunity on offer. So I was provided with a lot of responsibility during my placement year, and I knew this would be the same, if not more, being a graduate at Sage, which is just great. So we're encouraged to just be our true selves and bring our true selves to work here at Sage, and there's no need to try and fit in. It's like a big family and community. Everyone you meet and talk to are really passionate about their role and the company they work for. I really also like that Sage empowered the women in tech too, which really drives equality and inclusion. So at first I wasn't sure if I had to come from a technical or engineering background. Although this is welcomed, it certainly doesn't apply, as I studied business management. So they really want to try and include people from all backgrounds. Another standout for me was how professional yet friendly the recruitment process was. So if you could move on, Paul. So for this year's cohort of grads, I know for one, our experience has been a little different because of how COVID has affected everything. However, Sage adapted and responded really well and still went ahead with investing and hiring grads and held a virtual process instead. So a little bit of normality was the application stage, which was the online submission of the CV and filling in some further details. If we were successful in this screening process, we then received a link to submit a video interview, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with this process. It is a little strange just seeing yourself on screen and talking to yourself in response to the questions that come up and flash up on the video, but Sage's video submission seemed to really stand out for me. I had applied to other schemes, but the way this was conducted, this was so professional, yet so warming and friendly. So then this then gets reviewed by members of HR, who then decides whether you have it to take you on to the next stage, which is the assessment centre. So my personal experience, this was all virtual regarding the assessment centre this year, which at first I wasn't really sure what to expect, but all relevant communication was sent out very quickly and information regarding the setup of this was all sent out prior. I still wasn't sure how the execution would be, having never experienced this before. So the expected nerves were there, but as soon as the event started, this all subdued. We had a welcome presentation and then a team activity, which worked surprisingly well virtually. And then we had to present our results and findings back to the panel. And then I had a solo interview, which mine consisted of a panel of 4 consisting of HR and those areas that were hiring the graduates. So this lasted an hour and I felt totally welcomed at ease so that I could just represent and reflect my best self. So then a few days later, I received the best call to say that I was successful and received my offer thereafter and couldn't wait to start. Normally, I understand that there'll be a 1-week induction in Newcastle at the Sage head office so that all graduates could meet and socialise. However, this was all held virtually and it couldn't have gone any smoother. We've got a really good community and everyone's in the same boat at the minute. So we just made the very best of it with quizzes. So if you could move on, Paul. So remote working. Yeah, this is something you don't expect as a graduate to kind of start your career and job in a world of virtual learning. And Yeah, so at first I was a little apprehensive of starting a job at home, especially a graduate job, as I said. And I didn't know if this would affect the amount of exposure I would have if I was in the office and build the same network as would in the office. My experience has completely changed my outlook. Anything and everything is possible with technology. So the week before I started, I received all my IT equipment. And I did set up this straight away as I couldn't wait to start my new job and career. I received a call from my manager in IT to get everything set up. And there's always somebody at hand to offer support or guidance or just to get advice from. Everyone's in the same position in terms of working at home currently. So a lot of change and adapting has evolved over the last few months to make everything possible. So since starting my role, I've had an amazing amount of exposure. Although I haven't met my team or grads in person yet, I really feel like I'm getting to know them just as I would in an office. And we've all come together and collaborated really well, which has boosted everybody's morale and involvement. So being a grad in these unprecedented times has really driven the ability to adapt and embrace change, which is a really pivotal driving force that you all as graduates currently have now. In fact, I actually believe that it puts you in a better position, especially if you are used to operating virtually, which I know many universities are doing currently, and it makes the adjustment a lot easier. So a bit of a day or week in the life of my role so far. So as I'm 5 weeks into my role, I'll give a bit of insight into what the day-to-day activities have included. So I've been on lots of video calls, so lots of introductions with members of my team, update calls with my mentor and buddy, which we're assigned to as part of the graduate scheme, as Paul mentioned. There's a lot of learning modules which we can complete, which are relevant to my role, and various training activities that we can do as well. So I've had a lot of update calls with my manager, a lot of project involvement calls, which have instigated loads more tasks and things to keep me busy, which is great. Weekly project updates, catch up with other graduate members, which is lovely. And my team have also held a monthly team meeting, which took place virtually for a few hours. Normally that's done in person once a month, but the company are committed to keeping everybody safe. So yeah, also I've done a lot of research. So when you have your induction week, it can feel like you've been given so much information to take in and so much to learn. But all of the resources are available at our fingertips. And I spent a lot of time at first going over all the things we'd learned in the first week, simple things like navigating the company intranet to understanding what different platforms my team uses and getting used to different systems such as Power BI. And there's always someone to ask, and everyone's so welcoming and helpful. So once I joined my team, I got to grips with the team dynamics and what everybody's role does and how it all interlinks and correlates. So it could be a little overwhelming at times with acronyms, but what I did was I just created a bit of a Bible just to refer back to once they were mentioned on calls, so that I could literally just refer back to. And I built a massive list of questions that I could just ask my team members and manager once I could as well. So as I said, there's a lot of resources to go through at your own pace and taking notes and start to understanding everything. So yeah, I've spent a lot of time kind of researching team processes and understanding where all the information is stored so that I can really start to support my team. Giving a little perspective about my team is global, so I have colleagues in France, South Africa, America, and of course the UK. So this means I've had to try fit in with their time zones too. But we're able to take our time back, so don't worry about that. That was probably a bit of a I didn't anticipate moment as a graduate. So when you're joining a company in the UK, you would typically kind of work 9 to 5 hours, but my role specifically kind of doesn't. I just kind of fit fit around different time zones. But this gives an amazing global perspective, as it gets us to know different people working in different countries, getting used to laws and legislations as well. And the opportunity that this presents for graduates is just incredible. So one, for me, I had to attend a call at 7 a.m, which at first I would have, like, as a graduate, I would have screamed at, because I'm just not a morning person. But it's the real world, and to be honest, it was great, because you got to kind of talk to people in Singapore and Australia, which was just incredible. So yeah, that was a bit of a shock to the system, but it's just the nature of my role, and it presents the amount of opportunity available here at Sage. And I know in a normal world, non-COVID, there is a lot of opportunity to travel as well. So hopefully once I'm more established in my role, I'll get to visit these colleagues in different parts of the world and really be able to immerse myself within the role and progress. So yeah, I didn't expect to be involved as much as I am so soon into my role, because it's literally only been 5 weeks. But I've been given so many projects to manage and so many different things to work on, and I'm literally loving it, and it really keeps me busy. So yeah, that concludes my bit of the presentation. So I'd love to move on to Mia now.
Thank you so much, Shannon. And like you say, it's been a whirlwind. I feel like you've been here for years, and we have to keep kicking ourselves and reminding us only 5 weeks. So thank you so much. Moving on to Mia, who's gone through the graduate programme and is now in place as an associate product marketing manager. Over to you, Mia. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky. So I'm Mia, and I am an associate product marketing manager here at Sage. Just a bit about me. So I went to Northumbria University and I studied business with economics. I used to love dancing, so I was part of the dance society at uni, and I was the treasurer in my second year. And then in my third year, I did an industrial placement, and I was a finance intern. I lived in Oxford, and I really enjoyed that. It kind of set me up for the real life. I went back to uni, went back into kind of my student habits. And then in my final year, I was like, right, I'm ready to look for grad schemes. I went to a lot of grad fairs and kind of did some research, and I knew from my placement the kind of company that I was looking for. So I wanted to work for an employer who listens to me, who makes a difference, and who has lots of opportunities. So I applied for the business analyst role at Sage. As Shannon mentioned, we have assessment centres, so I went through that. I think, Paul, you actually interviewed me, and then I got the call to say that I've been successful. So I joined in October 2018, and since then, it's gone so fast, but I've done so much too, and I feel so lucky that I've been a part of the grad scheme, because there's been so many opportunities. When I joined the grad scheme, I was in like a business analyst role in the delivery excellence function. So this was a global role. I worked with numerous different stakeholders, and from the beginning, I feel like I took ownership of tasks, which was really good, because I could manage them. I was trusted to do the tasks and then achieve my goals, and I just explored so many different areas. I looked after the product master list. I got involved with different platforms. So for project management, I led some of the graduate product like projects that we had as well. So we had a security project that was really interesting to get involved with, because it just shown Sage from a different perspective to kind of what I'd been doing, and the skills to kind of learn a bit more of the technology. And yeah, that was a really interesting project to be involved with. I know we've said it before, but there are so many opportunities. I think my highlight of the grad scheme was getting involved with the Dynamo event. That was really fun. And we also had the Lego Day as well. So working with school children, they were so excited to see the excitement on their faces and them running around and getting really competitive and wanting to do well. It was great because I felt like I was giving something back as well. So we have our Sage Foundation Days at Sage, which just means that you can give some time back to the communities, which are valued really highly, and everyone really enjoys getting involved with. In terms of what I'm doing now, so after the grad scheme, I was looking at the skills that I have and what I want to explore and what I need to do for my career path. And marketing was always something that I wanted to go into. Having studied economics at uni, I wanted to find out a bit more about the market and who our customers are. We have this strategic lens, like we always put customers first, and it's really important to us at Sage. So I've been working since like the 1st of October in a new marketing role. But I also have a plan of what I need to do in the next year now. So what skills I need to improve on. We've got the product excellence that I'm taking part in. And there's just so many things to get involved with which I'm really enjoying. I'm also a buddy to the grads now, which is interesting because it's a different perspective, and I feel like I've kind of grown up a bit now and I'm helping grads to get through it. But when I was on the grad scheme, I was always listened to. So I used to have meetings, just to put in my input from a grad point of view. So we're continuously trying to improve the grad scheme and really listening to what people want, and how we can help the grads to become leaders, to get the most out of their career. Because I think it's so important to feel like you are actually listened to and like you will make a difference. Like from the start, in my first week, we had like really senior people giving us talks and really believing in us, saying like, look, like if you want to have 5 minutes for well, not 5 minutes, 15 minutes for a coffee and you've got a problem, come to me, like the door is always open. Which I don't think you actually get in many companies. So that was really nice. And then there's also just the whole grad community. I'm really good friends with all of the grads. When we had like nights out and socials, and we also did things when it was like bowling. So it wasn't always kind of like you didn't have to drink. Basically, you can kind of do different things. We have wreath making, all different activities, which was really fun. And if I've got a problem now, I know that I can go to anyone and say, look, can you help me with this? And equally, if I want to get involved with something, then I can. So I've really enjoyed my experience on the grad program, and yeah, I'm really excited for what my career brings at Sage now.
Excellent, thanks, Mia. And I think one thing you forgot to mention as well was your organisation of the graduation cookery lessons as well.
Oh, yeah.
Which was run virtually. But just to pick up on, both Shannon and Mia's point of view, they've both sort of talked about some of the respect the graduates are held in, and their voices listened. For example, the graduate on my team, we had a recent hackathon event lined up this year. He was the one that was organising the senior developers on our team. He was organising the training around Flutter platform technology, and he was the graduate, but the senior developers were all sort of listening to him, and he was actually leading the project. So that was brilliant to see.
Thanks, Mia. Absolutely fantastic to hear from, obviously, Shannon, who is going through the graduate programme now, and Mia, who's now successfully enrolled. And thank you to Paul as well for giving us that amazing overview of what the Sage graduate programme would look like for our students. We are Sage and we're proud to be different, so we're doing things a little differently today. We're going to head on over to our booth to do the Q&A session in around about 5 minutes. It's been an absolute delight seeing you all, and we're looking forward to answering your questions in the booth at 12:45 and again at 1:15 and 3:30 this afternoon. But from us at Sage, that's a wrap, and we look forward to seeing you very shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.